With the slightly odd call for help from Vehek, we recently were able to acquire the new Tonkkatt melee weapon, a set of Tonfas. It's MR9 and comes with base stats that mirror that, putting it below the power of the Cronin Prime, Praetos and Telos Boltace. It's an event item after all, it can only do so much. Quirk-wise, it has a weird ability where anytime you increase your combo tier, it gains a stacking heat damage bonus that is non-combining. Okay, so this might be the best Tonfa in the game, situationally. I'm TheKengineer, let's solve a practical problem. Compared to highly used Tonfas like the Cronin Prime and Praetos, the Tonkkatt has lower base damage, very marginally higher critical output, and then is either lacking in speed and range compared to the Praetos, or lacking in status chance compared to the Cronin Prime. These lower stats aren't disastrous, but it does stop it from being best in class for most gameplay usage. However, its unique trait to apply non-combining heat damage does have some small use. By non-combining, I mean that this heat will not merge with elements you've modded in, such that an electric build will become heat and electric rather than turn it all into radiation. On its own, this is not actually that impressive. The bonus caps out at plus 120% heat, which, while it's a substantial value, isn't a game changer. Keeping the bonus stacked up means constantly spending and regaining combo. Outside of some specialized modding, this can be a pain to maintain. If you ever go 15 seconds without regaining a combo tier, you lose the entire stack of bonuses. Also, the bonus may currently be bugged. It provides a heat damage bonus, but not a heat proc bonus, similar to the issue that bugged Valence Formation for a while. As the buff comes with no status chance, the heats you gain will compete with other damage types for the same amount of status output, limiting the overall value. If you use Tonfas in a standard way, just walking forwards whilst meleeing with Sovereign Outcast, then the results will be strictly worse than high level Tonfas. Lower range and speed, or lower status chance, means lower effectiveness. But that's not the only thing Tonfas can be good for. You see, there's this curious little arcane called Melee Afflictions. It humbly claims to apply 6 additional status stacks when enemies are knocked down or flung by melee attacks. 6 more procs on its own sounds useful, I'm sure. When we consider that Tonfa heavy attacks deal 2 hits, both with knockdown and guaranteed slash procs, it now sounds viable. But thanks to some wonky maths, it's downright broken. But let's walk you through this with as little complicated math as possible. Fair warning, there be numbers here. Here's a screenshot from the moment the Tonkkatt heavy attack lands. There are 2 core hits, both dealing 168 damage and applying slash procs. While they've appeared at the same time, the game does consider them to have landed one after the other. The other 2 hits we see, dealing 319 and 534 damage, are also applying slash procs. These are the Afflictions hits, and are actually applying 6 slash procs with each of those hits. Given they're coming from the same heavy attack, why are they different numbers? The first heavy attack hit that registers delivers a slash proc. This proc is 35% of the base hit as proc damage per second, then multiplied by our status damage bonus and our faction damage bonus. When I say base hit, I mean without any element or physical bonuses included, just straight up damage, faction buff and critical buff. This is all completely normal slash proc mechanics. On landing that hit, the enemy receives a knockdown effect. This triggers Afflictions. Afflictions checks the enemy for status procs and sees the 1 slash proc. It checks the damage that slash is doing, which in this case is 66.5% of the base hit thanks to the status damage mod on this weapon. Afflictions removes the proc modifier of 35% and the faction bonus, if there was one, out of the value to effectively figure out the base hit that formed the slash proc. The weirdness is that Afflictions forgets to remove the status damage bonus. It thinks we have a base damage 90% higher than it should be. With this boosted value, Afflictions then hits the enemy such that each new slash proc uses that newly calculated base damage, and then applies the 35% proc modifier, any faction bonus, and status damage bonus as is normal for a slash proc. So while faction bonuses are taken out and put back in, status damage has now been applied twice. We end up with 6 new slash procs, each dealing 90% more damage than the original they were based on. In comes the second hit of this heavy attack. Once again, it applies a normal slash proc, and once again attempts to knock down the enemy. Afflictions triggers again, but this time sees 8 slash procs on the target. 1 from the first hit, 1 from the second hit, and 6 from the first Afflictions trigger. Afflictions finds the base damage for all 8 procs, again forgetting to remove the status damage bonus, and divides it by the 8 slash procs to get an average base damage. In this case, it ends up with a supposed base damage now just over 3 times higher than the original slash proc. Afflictions happily applies a hit to deliver this calculated base damage, delivering 6 slash procs, which again gain any faction and status damage buffs on the weapon. The faction bonus isn't stacking, but the status damage bonus is being reapplied. All told, the target enemy ends up with 14 slash procs on them. 2 of them deal normal damage, 6 of them deal 90% more damage, and 6 of them deal 218% more damage. And this, I'm happy to tell you, is the weaker result of Melee Afflictions. Melee Afflictions has one more quirk in its logic that sends this setup to the moon. If we have other damaging procs on the target, Afflictions wants to duplicate those procs too. That much makes sense. It will go through the same process of calculating the average base damage of each status type to see how much damage it should hit the enemy with. It wants to use this to create the 6 new procs for each type. Just as before, Afflictions forgets status damage bonuses are a thing, and comes up with values that are much higher than they should be if you have that stat buffed. But then, Afflictions does something stupid. Does it average out these different status types to get one super average hit, keeping the hit count simple? No. Does it hit the enemy multiple times, so slash applies it with its own average, while heat applies with a different average, to be as precise as possible? No. Melee Afflictions takes the calculated base damage of each of these procs and just adds them all together. So if the slash procs were supposed to be based off 100 damage, and the heat procs supposed to be based off 100 damage, Afflictions will apply a hit of 200 damage. Both the heat and slash just end up doing more damage, and only because the other one was also there. If the heat was instead just 1 damage, say it came from a primer weapon, then the 100 slash and 1 heat combine for a base damage of 101 for both the slash and the heat. No matter the source, every extra damaging status type just means more damage. Crazier still, if you repeat your attack and again trigger Afflictions, it'll now see that both the slash and heat have even higher average values. Once again add them together and apply yet another even higher damage set of procs. It'd be like if you wanted to know the average number of legs people had and got 4 people in a room. You count them up and see, yep, each of these people have 2 legs. So in total, that's 8 legs across these people. Somehow, you come to the conclusion that this means people have 8 legs and act like that's a normal thing to say. This demonstration is with just Killing Blow, Melee Elementalist, and Valence Formation in action. Stack the bonuses some more, this scaling reaches into millions, even after armor. Now to be clear, this is not a unique feature of the Tonkkatt. This is Melee Afflictions being weird, using a double hitting, knockdown proccing, heavy melee attack, which all Tonfas can do. What makes the Tonkkatt an interesting candidate for this is that it can apply slash, heat, and your choice of electric or toxin with the same build. This means you can apply 3 different high damage status procs, each getting these crazy scaling boosts. All other buffs are nice and all, but the core driver behind Affliction's ridiculous scaling is just status damage bonuses and multiple damaging status procs being present. The bigger the status damage bonus you can stack, such as applying heat from Thermal Transfer, Ripper's Wail, or Valence Formation, the bigger base this exponential scaling explodes from. Also, all of this is status damage, so use the mecha set with a Kubro or Predacite and make the whole thing AoE. At this point, why not? If you want to do this whole Affliction shenanigans yourself, I recommend using a setup like this. This is designed to hit reliably with increased range, faster with wind up and attack speed, delivering slash from the guaranteed procs, heat from the unique trait, and occasionally toxin from Virulent Scourge with Weeping Wounds. All you need to do is spam heavy attack at literally every target. By using Galvanized Reflex, we get enough initial combo to make Weeping Wounds achieve something, boost the strength of heavy attacks, and we have freely restoring combo tiers after every heavy attack. That initial combo recharge will trigger the Tonkkatt's heat bonus on every heavy attack, even if we hit no enemies. If you don't have all of these mods, A budget setup like this will achieve a similar but weaker result. Again, we have range, speed, toxin, initial combo, status damage, and melee afflictions. Now this level of scaling is all based on two logic bugs. The bug of not removing status damage, and the bug of adding different types together rather than averaging them. DE may well fix this. If and when they do, the afflictions party would be over. The Tonkkatt's unique perk will again just be a cheeky bit of heat sat alongside the rest of your modding, and you may as well go back to the brain dead simple meta of melee influence. But then you might as well just use a more powerful Tonfa like Cronin Prime to achieve that. So DE, if you happen to be watching this, your math is broken, and it's better for build variety that you don't fix it. Afflictions, and by extension the Tonkkatt, would be a fraction as powerful, and that'd just be sad. To everyone else, enjoy it whilst it lasts. Go and apply this output to either your Tonkkatt, Cronin, or other setups that can deliver those reliable, hard-hitting knockdown and proc combos. The Tonkkatt may not be the best Tonfa, let alone best weapon, but this does at least get some strange value out of its unique trait. As ever, much of the testing for this weapon happened live on stream, so make sure to drop a follow to catch it live, or join on Patreon to support more from this channel. The links for these are in the video description. That's all from me for now, so as always, break maths, clear paths, and fight well, Tenno.